who likes to get to know new places by traveling should visit Novodnistrovsk. The small town, which is situated compact on the high bank of the Dnister, will amaze you with its unique symbiosis of civilizational achievements and the pristine beauty of the circumambient landscape. Here, in a 9-story buildings, work the elevators, centralized water and gas are supplied. City crews conscientiously sweep the streets and remove garbage. But there is no public transport here. It is just unnecessary, since the whole square of residential building makes up just to 8 square kilometers. Therefore, here you may get to the shade of an aged forest just after leaving an entrance of a modern high-rise, and if you walk several hundred meters, you may dive in river coolness. And one more thing, you may listen to a nightingale that warbles somewhere close at hand, right from the window of a 9-story building. For the birth of their town Novodnistrovsk, its inhabitants should definitely thank the Dnister. There was a time when the capricious river on the way to the Black Sea always sank with floods populated locations situated in lower reaches. In order to curb the rebellious river, it was decided to build a cascade of hydroelectric power stations with dams and reservoirs which would not only protect the cities and villages from floods, but would also bring benefit to the national economy. After adoption of a number of decisions at the highest state level, the construction of a powerful energy facility, a cascade of hydroelectric power stations, and hydroelectric pumped storage power station, which gave a life to a new town, has begun. The first inhabitants came here and settled down in 1973. Somebody settled in a temp camp, somebody accommodated in the neighborhood villages until a constructed with their own hands temporary location of module building TUH, Transportable Universal House, appeared on the territory of the modern town. Novodnistrovsk got its name and status of an urban-type settlement in February 1975. Further residential buildings, structures of state establishments, and production facilities were rapidly raised up to one after another. The first of them, and the main of them, was Dnistrovsk Hydroelectric Power Plant 1. Its construction was preceded by a range of works on construction of the Dnister Reservoir. With a length of 194 kilometers, this human-made sea with maximum depth of 54 meters occupied an area of 142 square kilometers. Today it is a favorite place for rest not only for inhabitants of Novodnistrovsk, but also for many guests who, having been in love with these places, come here each year to spend their vacations. Special microclimate of the Dnister Sea gives an opportunity to sunbathe and to swim not worse than on the coast of the Black Sea. In addition, you can go fishing and cook the lighted fire a fish soup by yourself. And while rowing a boat, you can enjoy an incredible kaleidoscope of marvelous views. Densely forested abrupt canyons that are interspersed with white limestone rocks boggle imagination. Amateurs of antiques will be interested in visiting caves which were formed in the limestones still in ancient times. Some of them serve as a housing to hermit monks. So, probably in 11th, 12th centuries, Halitsky skid appeared on a sloping limestone rock on the slope of the Halitsky ravine. Halitsy village was a near border post of the kingdom of Halitsy-Volhynia at that time. Now, the rocky Saint Nicholas Monastery is located in these caves. On the riverside of the Dniester, there already exist several modern comfortable recreation camps, which are very popular among the tourists. But a part of the riparian land which is included in the boundary of Novodnistrovsk has not actually been reclaimed. The tourist industry is still being in the prospect here. The loftiest agenda with respect to development of this territory having been fixed in the general plan of Novodnistrovsk town. From the city over the forest it has to run a cable road to the passenger landing stage of the river port. From there, tourists will discover incredible views during the all times of the year. It is planned to place a base for motorboats, catamarans, and also a yacht club on the landing stage. A bit upstream, it has to be an observation deck with the views of the Dnister and the hydroelectric power plant. Also, general plan stipulates establishment of the horse riding and skiing bases. There is also a potential for development of water sports. On the riverside of the Dnister Reservoir, it has been formed and is successfully working a rowing school, which was already gave a start to the top-class sport to a galaxy of kayakers and canoeists who are famous nowadays. And from the time when the first Dnister Fest took place here, the place became. And from the time when the first Dnister Fest took place here, this place became also a center of cultural life. The participants of the fest, famous vocational groups and modern rock bands, draw a pretty big audience of their admirers. In July it was already the fourth fest on the Dniester riverside, which not only gave joy and a good mood to all its participants, but is also called on to support folk traditions, honor the history of this land, to love the motherland with its songs, dances, customs, and extraordinarily talented people. Dnistrovsk hydroelectric power plant and hydroelectric pumped storage power plant, thanks to which a modern know-how industrial tourism is on the rise in the region, may be considered as the landmarks of Novodnistrovsk. General project power, all three stations, makes up to more than 3,000 megawatts. Dnistrovsk hydroelectric power plant 1 has 6 generating units with 117 megawatts of power per unit. From December 1983, when the last 6th generating unit was put under production load, the plant has been producing each year in average 865 million kilowatts of environmentally friendly renewable energy a year. Staunch of the station, which is 100 meters height and more than 1 kilometer long, and into the body of which it is placed a powerhouse hole, serves as a regulator of the seasonal drain of the Dniester River, and protects the settlements lying below the river's stream from the destructive floods. In December 2002, it was launched as the last of 3 generating units in Dnistrovsk hydroelectric power plant 2. It was projected as a buffered hydraulic power system, so it works in base mode on equalized costs. Its total capacity makes up only to 40.8 megawatts, and the average annual electricity generation doesn't exceed 50 million kilowatts a year. Dnistrovsk hydroelectric pumped storage power plant is the pride of Ukrainian hydraulic power industry, the most powerful project in Europe and the 6th one in the world, designed to provide regulation of the load schedule in the energy system of the country in accordance with the world standards. While working in a pump-turbine mode, the plant allows making unnecessary electrical power from power supply network during the night for its production during the peak loads in the daytime. In accordance with the project, the set power of Dniprovsk hydroelectric pumped storage power plant should be 2,268 megawatts in generation mode, 2,947 megawatts in the pumping, 7 recycling generating units with the power of 324 megawatts in generation, and 412 megawatts in pumping mode. Hydro constructors got the start for the pre-construction works in 1983, but because of the standstill in the state. In fact, the building was started only in 2006. At the moment, 3 generating units that make the first stage of construction have been set up and put under industrial load on the hydroelectric power plant. Having estimated the results of the work of the plant, Ukrainian government took a decision to continue establishment of the Dnistrovsk hydroelectric pumped storage power plant and adopted a project of construction of the second stage. Enforcement of the 4th generation unit will allow reducing a consumption of coal by million tons and consumption of gas by 250 million cubic meters a year. A young town was growing and developing together with construction of hydroelectric power plants. In 1993, Novodnistrovsk was referred to the towns under district jurisdiction. In 2000, the town got the status of the town under regional jurisdiction. And in 2016, as a result of territorial and administrative reform, it became a center of Novodnistrovsk joint territorial community. The town, projected for 40,000 of inhabitants, has a relevant infrastructure necessary for the full-fledged living of its inhabitants. 3 kindergartens, a secondary school and gymnasium provide a full cycle of a high school education. Young men from the high school may complete a specialized course of study in the Bukovina Lycée boarding school with a strengthened military sports preparation. Development of special talents are provided by the youth center and musical school. The Municipal People's Hall invites to work in hobby groups and amateur art studios, and Sports Complex offers a training in sections of various sports. Functions of health care of Novodnistrovsk inhabitants are entrusted to the Municipal Hospital and Outpatient Clinic, and the workers of the Territorial Center of Social Services take care of old and single people. Number of the services and state-financed establishments that give necessary administrative services to the inhabitants also functions in the town. Having grown up from a small settlement of hydro-constructors to the town of regional subordinates, now Novodnistrovsk tries to leave the area of monoproduction. To extend the list of the types of its activities, thanks to which the town exists, and to improve an investment climate, the local government has initiated establishment of an industrial park, Novodnistrovsk. Unfinished construction object of the past period became its base. Ukrainian government has already provided the certain benefits for participants of the industrial park, and a number of other preferences for investors are considered by the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. In accordance with the concept adopted by Novodnistrovsk Town Council, development of such types of business as the processing of fruit and berry products, production of electric equipment, and motor vehicle parts is expected on the territory of the industrial park. The main requirement to the business object is that the production has to be environmentally friendly, since Novodnistrovsk shapes its course to development of tourism. Besides, there is a number of the objects in the town which can also attract investors: unfinished residential houses, hotel, administrative and cultural center, and trading and residential development. One more future-oriented direction of the local government is development of international relations. In 2017, for the first time in the history of Novodnistrovsk, it was concluded an agreement on cooperation with Slovakian city Galnica. Partnership relations have developed very quickly into a real twinning, which fasten a friendship of community not only on the level of economic relations, but also in a spiritual way. In April 2017, art amateur groups from Novodnistrovsk presented their works on Days of Ukraine in Košice, and already in October the same year, Slovakian colleagues made a friendly visit to Ukraine, where they took part in Days of Slovakia in Novodnistrovsk. One more agreement on cooperation was signed in October the same year between Novodnistrovsk and Polish town Bech. Together with twin towns, Novodnistrovsk takes part in the projects of international technical support proclaimed by organizations and individual countries of the European Union. At the moment, international agreements are being prepared for signing with cities of the other European countries. The land where Novodnistrovsk was born is spread in by ancestors, rich on history, warmed by the sun, washed by the life-giving waters of the Dnister.